Hey, this is Michael Gillis, team leader with the Gillies Team in Stafford, Virginia. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Fed's most recent decision and how that may affect you as a buyer or seller. Stay tuned. So as many of you may have heard already, the Fed had a meeting on September 20th, and what they announced at the end of that meeting was that they're going to start reducing their balance sheet, which just means that of all those mortgage-backed securities that they bought during the height of the crisis, they're going to start reducing what they own. And so the real question at this point is just, well, what does that mean for me? You know, if I'm going to buy a house or I'm looking at selling a house, what effect is that going to have? And so the first thing to keep in mind is that this is not an immediate situation, right? So that program is getting ready to start, but the Fed owns $3.5 trillion in these securities, and they're going to start back by selling back just $10 billion a month. So that's not a huge number. It's important to keep in mind that that if you're going to buy or sell in the next year, you want to be aware of this, but don't be scared by it here in the short term. So in really simple terms, if you're going to buy a house, and obviously if you're going to get a mortgage, the amount that you're going to pay on that monthly is going to be affected in a huge way by how much the interest rate is. And so over time, the Fed lowering what they own, what's on their balance sheet, is going to increase borrowing costs for consumers, which in this case just means interest rates. And so one of two things: either buying that house is going to cost you a little bit more 6 months or a year from now, or two, you're going to be able to afford just a little bit less house. Now, on the seller side, it's really just the opposite. And so if you're considering selling your house and you think, well, I could do it this year, I could do it 2 years from now, you really want to think hard about maybe doing it sooner rather than later. And the reason for that is just, again, it's the flip side of what we talked about with buyers. So buyers are going to be able to afford less house, or they may choose to purchase at a little bit lower price just because they're focused on what their monthly payment is, what their budget is, and how that's going to affect things. Where this is really going to have an effect is on the upper end in a particular area. So when you own a house that's a move-up house for most buyers, this may have an effect on you over the next year or two, because your move-up buyers that are determining, okay, I'm going from a $200,000 to a $400,000 house, or on the case of the upper end here in the Stafford area, maybe someone's going from a $400,000 to a $600,000 or $700,000 house. That's going to have an effect on their decision and on how much they decide to borrow. So again, the takeaways are, this is not an immediate thing. This is not something that you need to have your house on the market in a week, but it is something that you should think about. And it's something that, again, if you could sell a year from now, 2 years from now, think about how this may affect your overall planning in your situation, and it'll be good to be informed. If you're looking to buy a house, or if you're planning on selling a house, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, and we can definitely talk you through this and help you through the process. Talk to you guys soon.